Hi, my name's Matthew Reeves. I'm a senior industry analyst at IBISWorld, and today I'll be taking a deeper look at some of the aspects of Australia's banking oligopoly. So, Australia's national and regional commercial banking industry is dominated by the Big Four, as we all know: Commonwealth Bank, Westpac, NAB, and ANZ. Combined with Macquarie Group, these banks account for over 90% of the total assets in the industry. While this may sound unusually high, Australia is not actually alone in having such a highly concentrated banking system. Similar levels of concentration, above 80%, are found in countries like New Zealand, Canada, Germany, and Ireland, although by contrast, the United Kingdom and the United States have much lower levels of concentration, with their top five banks holding around 60 to 50%, respectively, of asset market share concentration. The UK's economy is very much outward focused, attracting global investment and driving up participation across the financial sector, especially included in banking. And then in the United States, the large population and geographic spread of the US, as well as strong antitrust legislation, supports lower levels of concentration there. If we turn back to Australia, while the data does actually show a modest decline in concentration in recent years, suggesting that industry competition is rising, albeit from a high base. Another way to understand the oligopolistic nature of Australia's banking industry is through profitability. So in banking, profitability largely hinges on the net interest spread. So that is the difference between the interest rates the bank charges on loans and what is paid on deposits. Historically, the major banks have been able to leverage their market power to set both the lending and deposit rates without much pressure from the other domestic banks, and therefore maintain wider margins. However, this chart shows the gap in profit margins of the major banks and the domestic banks is shrinking. In fact, in several recent quarters, the smaller banks have even managed to outperform the majors on profitability. While the overall dominance of the major banks is not under major threat, increasing competition from neobanks like Judo Bank and other non-bank lenders like Afterpay, Airwallex, Prosper have pushed the Big Four to offer more attractive interest rates in an effort to retain and attract customers. So just to wrap up, these two charts are looking at asset concentration and profit margins, demonstrate the oligopolistic nature of the banking industry in Australia. However, they also show that competition from smaller players like the fintechs is slowly creeping in and forcing the Big Four to adapt. That concludes my presentation for today. Thank you for listening.